Hello tankers and tankettes, I thought we were about due for some live gameplay, and it's a weekend so I'm sort of taking my life into my hands here. But I have decided that as I need some credits, I'm going to play my two normal matchmaking tier 8 heavy premium tanks, the Löwe and the T34. Now, I get along with the T34 a whole lot better than I get along with the Löwe. I think mostly because it's got a better gun and the mobility is actually not as bad and the turret's better and it's just all round the nicer tank. I mean, I've had the occasional good game with the Löwe, and these days it makes decent credits. All the tier 8 premiums make about the same amount of credits, but the T34 is still preferable for just a whole host of reasons. It used to be that the Jagdtiger 8.8 was one of the best, if not the best, tier 8 premium for making credits with, but they basically buffed all the rest so that they're now more or less at the same level. And that's pretty nice because the T34 especially, it means I can make quite a lot of credits with this machine. You only have to do about 1500 damage to make, 40k, 50k profit. And I have had games where I've done 5k damage on a loss, and that's over 100,000 credits profit kind of thing. Although I think I had a courageous resistance in that particular battle. So if you do the damage, you can really crank out the credits with these things. And it's a lot easier to do the damage with guns like this than it is with the guns you get on, say, the IS-6 and the KB-5. So this is Prokhorovka, and there's a whole bunch of people going that way, so I'm actually going to go to the middle, see if I can't spot things. There's a Carnarvon going there as well. There is one artillery, but it's a tier 8 French premium artillery. Not premium, just regular. There is no... Wow, I even got the tier wrong. Just everything about that statement was wrong, apart from the fact that it was French. It's the tier 7 regular French artillery. Where did I get tier 8 premium artillery from? I don't know. I don't know. There is one French premium artillery at tier 5 and you can't buy it anymore, so well done brain is all I can say. So let's see. Oh, I'm spotted already by one of those guys apparently, or is it something on the other flank? I don't know. That's their PTA there. I'm not honestly sure what spotted me there. It could have been the PTA, but I don't know if he ever crested far enough to actually spot me. But I guess we'll just assume that. But something tried to shoot from the other flank, so, you know. Yeah, I don't know. Well, let's have a cautious peek. The fact that there's artillery does make this slightly more difficult, but we have a lot of people going to the hill already, so it's not really necessary for me to go there as well. MXM4. Let's find some houses. Oh, KB-13's going ham, maybe? Put the gun round. Oh, that was lucky. The handling on this gun means that snapshots like that, when they come off, it's really nice, but it's a 120mm gun, so it's really beefy. It's sort of the middle gun. It basically is the middle gun that the T30 gets at tier 9, so it's not quite the same as the top gun, and obviously the T30 gets better gun handling, but the damage output, the penetration, when it hits hard, and also, of course, it gets all the advantages of an American tank in that it's got the good gun depression and the good gun turret. Gun turret? Yes, you know what I mean. Nope, didn't get quite so lucky with that shot. So these mediums are being fairly aggressive. It's unsurprising artillery is actually focusing this position, so I'm actually going to move a little bit further over. The hill isn't spotting anything for us to actually shoot at up there, so I'm kind of not really necessary there right now. And it actually looks like, yeah, there's more stuff over there. That E75's taken a thorough kicking. Don't know what shot him there. They don't have any big tank destroyers. It might just have been artillery, maybe. That's the Carnarvon down. That's not particularly good. Well, I feel like I've got to help this flank first, because if they take this, then we're going to have serious problems. But the fact that we don't really even have... Well, we've got the tank destroyers on the rails, so they're going to help, but... Yeah, right. T69! Go back! There we go. Solid hit. It's just a Jagdpanther there now, so... Yeah, that makes this tricky, and that KB-13 is going to be a pain. Potentially. Right. The long reload's the only thing that really hampers this gun. I mean, it does have a long, that was poorly aimed. It does have a long aim time as well, but you just have to get used to that. So he's taking a pounding. It also doesn't have a particularly good view range, but you know, you can't have it all. Oh, when I said they don't have any big tank destroyers, I totally missed that they have an ISU, so that's probably what ripped that that guy a new one. A sneaky little KV-13. Now, do I trust my turret against an ISU? Also, I hope the frame rate's holding up here. Oh, well, he's firing HE, so as it turns out, it didn't matter. And I didn't actually hit him, but other people did, so that's fine. That's the Tiger 8.8, so that's also fine. We know where these guys are. Take on the ISU, not much damage done, but that's one less gun firing at us. I feel like we've got this, although I don't know what happened on the hill, to be honest. Whoa, hello, PTA. Okay, new problem. Can we get the KV-13? No, tail snapshot, that didn't work out so well. This PTA needs to die, he's going to kill me otherwise. No one want to shoot the PTA? No, I might rip. I bounced the PTA! No! Oh, he tracked me though, and artillery's fired, so... Right, so we don't have anything at our back to worry about particularly, but artillery obviously still a big threat. And also, I really want to know what happened on the hill. We had a bunch of tanks there. And they all seem to have slightly died. Oh, well, there we go. Well, there's really nothing I could have done to avoid artillery there. I could have found a rock and hugged it and then been killed by medium tanks instead. It's just one of those cases where you just have to hope artillery misses, because there's really nothing you can do on this map, in this tank. You can't dodge the artillery shells effectively. It's just, sometimes you have to cross your fingers. So we'll just wait for this battle to finish, and I think we've got it. Although the enemy PTA could be a problem. I think it's the E75 that's in the middle there that killed all those guys on the hill. They were obviously getting spotted, and we see that E75. Having said we've probably got this, maybe we don't. That E75's got a lot of health left. And it would be nice if our S51 would do some damage to him. And he's got the 203mm as well, so that's the big gun. So this T34 kind of has to stay alive. Anyway, yeah, what I'll do is I'll just fast forward this and we'll see the results, see what happens. Well, there we go, a win. Quite a profitable win, considering that I didn't do that much damage. I didn't really get a chance to do that much damage, unfortunately. I had one very lucky snapshot, and then the rest of my snapshots kind of missed. I even had one fully aimed shot that managed to miss or bounce. And I hit the Leopard PTA and managed to bounce on his turret, so that was quite something. But as we can see, I got over 3,000 spotting damage from all that stuff on the east flank there. So yeah, that wasn't a total waste of time, even with my relatively lackluster view range. You know, even with this good crew, and I've got ventilation rather than any vision equipment on this tank. It's still less than 400 meters, but it was all close enough that I was picking up the spotting damage for all those guys. That spotting damage put me at the top of the team, despite the fact that I only did 1,200 damage. And you can see that it really was the tank destroyers that carried the day there. Our Ace-51 wasn't particularly... well, he didn't hit anything directly, not with that damage count. And as you can see on the enemy side, the PTA did quite a lot. He worked that middle ridge line really well. And the E75 went down swinging really hard. You know, he was not going out without a fight, and he got a top gun for his efforts. But at the end, there were just too many of us versus him. So, yeah, that was an alright win. 74,000 credits. And I think a lot of that came from the 3000 spotting damage, because it certainly didn't come from 1200 actual damage done. It was quite a nice daily as well, 5000 with the ×3 event that's going on at the moment. Plus I got a mission bonus, which there is for the heavy tanks. So yeah, I've actually got... I mean, they're not quite as good as my OP Russian crew, but I've got one fairly good American heavy crew who, as you can see there, their regular tank is the T29. Unsurprisingly, the T29 is one I hung on to, and it's the crew I tend to use for the T34 as well, so they're pretty good at this point. So we're going to go to the Löwe, and this has actually got my mouse crew in it. They're used to slow tanks, so I figure they'll be alright. The Löwe has got a much better base view range, so I've actually got optics on this. The gun's not quite as good in terms of penetration, but the accuracy is slightly better, and I think the .33 versus that's .35, so it is slightly more accurate as well. So it's more of a sit back and try and dish out the damage from more of a longer range sort of a gun, but that's mainly because the mobility on this isn't particularly great, and I say that even compared to the T34, which is not particularly nimble itself, but the Löwe has always felt, I don't know, very weighty, very unmaneuverable. That's a good word to use there. Yeah, that's totally good English. It feels very unwieldy for the actual amount of armor that you get on the thing. So even though they buffed the side armor, I've always felt that it feels under armored for the actual weight of the thing, which is like 90 tons. So this is an encounter battle again, and there's one tier 9 on each side. We actually have a tier 9 artillery in place of their tier 7 and tier 8 artilleries. I'm going to try my luck in the forest, and we'll see what happens. The forest these days on this map, Prokhorovka? I won't say Prokhorovka. Yes, Prokhorovka. My old Nemesis map that isn't really my Nemesis map anymore, just because it's so different now. The forest side does seem to be a numbers game, and the fact that this is an encounter battle, well, I think it's worth just trying to overwhelm this side with numbers, and then sweep round and hopefully take the cap, or just, you know, beat the enemies. It's also quite a nice map for spotting and scouting things these days, I think. So it's hard to say that you can... There are still maps that are terrible for scouting, and there are maps that are good for scouting, and it's almost like I can see where Wargaming's trying to go, because you don't want to have... It's impossible to have every type of tank accommodator on every map, but they do have some maps that are better for tank destroyers, and some that are better for scouting, and some that are better for heavy tanks, so I can kind of see where they're going with this philosophy generally. I'm trying to be a bit cautious here. I don't know if there's... They've got at least one tank destroyer. There's a T34 over there. I'm trying to use my view range here more than anything. We have a lot of tanks here, but they're not especially... 704, what are you doing? They're not especially pushing. They've got some... We basically need to push. We need to be aggressive here. We have got the numbers. There are too many people here to just sit and be passive. So I'm hoping if I push forward, if I start to put on some pressure... I'm guessing that T32 is just AFK. Yeah. There was an IS-3 on the enemy team that was AFK in the last battle as well. We absolutely need to step up the pace. And we also need somebody to actually decap, which it looks like somebody is. So there's the ISA. We have to rock these guys. We've got to take these guys out fast and then sweep around. Whoa. The gun depression is definitely not quite as good on this. It's pity it didn't hit that Tiger 2 to begin with. It was slightly a snapshot, but this gun's better at that a bit than the T34. Really? That bounced? Okay. Okay. Not quite sure where I hit that bounced on an ISA, but whatever. Right, somebody really needs to decap. They've gone very hard over to the cap, haven't they? Wow, if we lose this by cap, this is just going to frankly be embarrassing. They've had to hardly anyone go to the forest, and lots of people... Whoa, that bounce. That was not fully aimed. This guy's probably going to hit me again, but I don't think it can be helped. Alright, maybe we didn't have enough that went there. I honestly thought we'd encounter more in the forest, but that's kind of a risk on encounter battles generally. Because this is now a bigger map than it used to be, I won't call this a valid strategy. I mean, it's a strategy by which you can win, but you're going to have a pretty crappy win if you do it. And if the enemy team does win, well, we shall take a look at the scores and see what their victory got them. Because it's not going to be much. It's one of those cases where, why would you do this? Why would you cap? Even at the higher tiers, you still see this. You know, you expect this at you know, tier 4, whatever. But this kind of a win at the higher tiers, well, a win for them and a loss for us. Nobody really wins, to be honest. Let's look at the team scores. Yeah, their top score, 375 base XP. Our top scoring guy actually did better than their top scoring guy. Why would you win? Why would you want this victory? Nobody did more than 1,000 damage on their team. I don't know. I don't know. They may have won, but they still lost, frankly. That was somebody's daily. So let's try that again with the Löwe. Yeah, I don't get that. I really don't get that, I'll be honest. It's just baffling that would be even halfway acceptable as a win to anybody. 375 base XP. Yeah, okay. Well, if that's, you know, if you want your win stats buffed that badly, then okay. Right, we are top tier, which is nice. And there's a tier 6 artillery, so that's not that much to worry about. Yes, this might go quite nicely, or it might go terribly, you never know. I think I'll try the 890 line. Or actually, no, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll try the beach side for a change. I normally go 890 line, but they've got T34s and a T32. And of course, you know, they're very good hull downs, so actually maybe I'll try this side of the map for a change. The fact that there is only a tier 5 arty. Tier 6 arty rather. So let's give it a go. I might end up having to hold back the hordes by myself, but even so, sometimes that can lead your team to victory if you're holding up one flank long enough that the other flank punches through. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, this is a fairly hefty tank, this. I'm sort of getting a reasonable speed going downhill, but even so, it's not that fast. We hear the Awful Panther from here? Maybe? No, I think it was behind a house by the time I loosed that. So it's hard to tell what the enemy team is doing right now. Oh, thanks for the nudge there, T29. I expect it wasn't intentional. It rarely is. You can usually tell if somebody's being intentionally an asshole towards you. The KV5, by the way, his username is Gold Ammo User. Well, in a KV5, that's not really surprising, but yeah, with a name like that, you tend to find with the more, shall we say, jokey reference names, the kind of the in-joke names, that they tend to be reroll accounts, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was somebody's reroll account. Although it can't be that new of a reroll account if he's got a KV5, because that's not available for sale that often. Right, can we see anything along there at all? The thing is, there's only two of us, and if I go too much forward, it really just wastes the view range advantage. Is that Awful Panther anywhere I can hit now? So what's the rest of the team doing? It's a bit hard to tell right now. We've lost our scout, they've lost a scout. Although they've got two, obviously, they've got that Awful Panther still running around. Yeah, let's press up. 44, no, can't hit him. Aha, maybe now I can. Ooh, that bounced, that was unlucky. I definitely prefer the T34's gun. I mean, this is still in theory a really good gun, but it just feels less reliable. No. Got away before I could reload. I mean, the reload's certainly better. I suspect the DPM's better, but hello, T29. To go forward. Oh, we've got an asshole with us as well. So, yeah, I think it's more just the mobility, and, you know, of course, in theory, I do not mind a... Oh. Wow, that penned there, apparently. Yeah, I was going to say, in theory, the the turret on this is quite good, and in theory the gun's quite good, and in theory it's very accurate. And in theory I don't hit a slow tank, but yeah, this particular slow tank doesn't seem to do as well. Seriously, that penned, and he's got, what, 198 average pen. He must have had a high pen roll. Normally that should have been, you know, like a glancing blow. I think that caught the side of his turret. Which is a tough proposition, on the side of his turret with 230 odd average pen. We kind of need the T34 to be out of the way, because if we go forwards... Well, if I go forwards, I'm going to trust... Oh, this might go badly wrong. I'm going to trust this T29 to watch my back. We don't know what else is there, but I mean 7-3, the enemy team is just collapsing at this point, so if I want to actually do some damage at some point... that's the T34. Have to watch out for him. Is the T29 going to go up? No, KV5's going for the T44, that's no problem. There we go. There's number 6 down there. Yeah, it's just one of those battles where the enemy team is actually going kablooey faster than I can actually shoot at them. Yeah, it was side armor, I think. Yeah, it was side armor that punched through. Surprisingly. Unsurprisingly, rather. This is actually, I mean, it did get a side armor buff, so it's much better at side scraping these days, but that was a bad angle all around. And the KV5 got a chance to jump on somebody, so he's got to be happy right now. Let's see if we can go forward. Probably won't get there in time to plant another shot in, but seriously, that bounced. That was the side of his tank and that bounced. Or did I just catch the underside of his turret? Even so, that was kind of dumb. That was an annoying bounce. Yeah, I don't know, this gun just feels more annoying to use than the T34 gun, even though the T34 gun handles worse. I don't know, the Löwe is just, it's not my go-to tank for grinding credits. So, yeah, it's still less overall frustrating to play than the IS-6 and the 112 can be, of course, with their gun handling, but 677 damage, it's like half of what I did in the last game, and I can guarantee you I won't have really gotten any spotting. And that pen on my turret there, at that angle, I feel like that should have just pinged off, but apparently not. Yeah, and this is the point where you're just too slow to do anything at all, so, you know, let's just... I think my tank is dirty, you guys. I think my tank is dirty. My tank needs a wash. So let's just, yeah, it's actually quite shallow here. I did have, once upon a time, I had thoughts of when I was doing an intro of, you know, the beginning of Monty Python's Flying Circus, and he comes up from the beach and says, "It's," and then the music starts. I did wonder if you could do that with a tank, but the problem is it's not kind of, the shelf isn't shallow enough for long enough kind of thing. By the time you drove out and started driving back in, you'd have drowned already, so yeah. So, yeah, also, a World of Tanks anecdote, that has reminded me of a World of Tanks anecdote. One time in, this one time at Bandcamp, you guys, wow, that is an odd way to go into that anecdote. The Yak Tiger 8.8, I mean, I was talking about that earlier, I was mentioning that, that used to be the best for grinding credits. There was a game on this particular map, and we lost terribly. The rest of the team just collapsed, doing no damage at all, and I was stuck on the beach and couldn't get anywhere. So a pair of Type 59s came for me, and I think they were platoons. So I actually backed out into the water, not intending to drown myself, but just because I knew it was really shallow, and that I had a chance there of being able to sit and shoot at them, and they would have to be on the beach, basically. They couldn't rush me. But they did try and rush me, and one of them actually drowned. It's quite funny that they sort of got halfway, and then they realised actually they were going to drown. So they both sort of hastily started backing up, and one actually drowned before he could get back to the beach, and the other one just made it back to the beach. And you know, I was shooting them the whole time because the Yak Tiger 8.8 was tall enough that I could still fire my gun, and I was actually able to, you know, get one to drown himself and kill the other, and that was quite funny, as you can imagine. So even though I did an absolutely pathetic amount of damage, look, 7 shots fired, 5 hits, 2 pens. Yeah, I don't even know, but that was still enough for 37,000 credits profit. So, you know, I need all the credits I can get because I just bought an E50, and that was 3.5 million. So yeah, I'm not disappointed in it so far. I've actually literally just this morning unlocked the top engine, which hopefully will make a big difference. But I'm still using the Panther 2 gun, and as you can see, I've got the stock turret there as well. So I do need credits because I had a bunch more credits, but after the 36-hour marathon birthday stream that Circumflexes just did, you know, I wasn't with him the whole time, but I played during the day both times. I wasn't up all night. I made over 1 million credits during that alone. So yeah. So, yeah, there we go. The T34 and the Löwe. They were neither particularly impressive matches, but the T34 match was at least very, very profitable. The Löwe match was still reasonably profitable, but the gun on that, yeah, it really didn't treat me kindly at all there. I had some very odd bounces in that one, and that just is my experience with the Löwe gun generally. It just does not treat me well. Whereas the T34, I just find that not only a good tank to grind credits with, but I actually find it an enjoyable tank to play. So, if you enjoyed this video, you can hit the like button, you can leave any comments below, you can subscribe to my channel, and, as always, stay tuned for more.